Hey everyone, Elite here with another video of me sketching in my sketchbook. I'm really happy to read you're all excited about the continuation of this series. I have to say I'm also enjoying it, and now that I've kind of decided to use the greens for foliage and areas around my florals, then these pages have also been enjoyable to make. And I think it's good for me to really focus on the greens when usually the greens are in supporting role. So I'm starting again with my color wheel here, and I'm trying to find kind of a close match to what would be a complementary color. I love using complementary colors. I talk about it a lot, and I have a specific lesson dedicated to that in my Watercolor Workbook 2 course, which focuses on color. And I just think that it's really fun to play with them, and usually those are my favorite colors, those semi-neutrals and neutrals that you get when you mix complementary colors. So I looked at my color wheel and I decided that I should probably stick to my cobalt violets, that area on the color wheel, which seems to be opposite these types of greens. So Undersea green, that's my color. Did I say that? My color today is Undersea green, and I added it to my summer palette. I didn't have it in my spring palette, and it's also a part of the Haines set, just like Cascade green that I used the other day. Now this is also a mixture of, also because I think Cascade green is also a mixture of, this one is actually 3 pigments. So it has ultramarine blue in it, PB29, PO48, and PY150. So if you're a fan of single pigment paints, this is probably not the color for you, or you could mix it with what you have in your palette, so ultramarine blue and then an orange and a yellow, and see what you can get. Personally, I love it, and I will definitely keep it for my autumn palette. I also enjoy mixing my own greens, but having used these and included them in my spring palette, I really enjoy them. And I also find that if you have interesting colors in your palette, you can still mix them with other colors, and then you get even more interesting mixes. So personally, I'm enjoying this. I have kind of let go a lot of the more strict rules that I, tried to follow with, you hear this a lot, and, I'm not going to tell you what is the right choice for you. There are definitely advantages to certain rules that you hear, and there's definitely a lot to be said about using a limited palette, because many times it will help you get a more harmonious result, and also it will improve your knowledge of color theory and color mixing. However, I find myself kind of stepping away from that idea, and I really enjoy using colors that I just love. I just love the way that they look, and I don't care if they have 1, 2, 3, 4 pigments in them. And I also really enjoy mixing my own and using colors that, sometimes you'll hear artists say, don't use this, or this will give you mud, or whatever. I embrace mud. I love certain colors of mud. And also in this page, some of my favorite areas are these really kind of muddy colors. For me, usually when they are light and have some sort of granulation in them and they're not completely opaque, even though I do enjoy also some opaque brush strokes, usually around the centers of my florals. I find these charming, and I'm pretty sure it would be hard for me to get to these colors if I followed the more strict rules of limited color palette or single pigments or transparent watercolors. So I've definitely embraced a lot of the things that I avoided before because I thought it wouldn't work for me, but turns out that I do enjoy opaque watercolors, and I do enjoy muddy colors. So for me, really what I try to stay away from is heavy application of kind of lackluster colors. But I don't stay away from opaque colors or muddy colors or that sort of thing. So it's all about kind of finding that balance. And I don't know, I really found kind of my voice, a more unique look to my artwork, something that I feel that is more me. And yeah, so, try to find, sometimes it's hard to figure these things out on your own by yourself. So, search for those artists that not only maybe create the kind of art that you enjoy creating, but also have a philosophy about painting that speaks to you. I recently bought a book that I thought looked really, really interesting, and I really wanted to kind of learn the techniques that this artist was using. I don't remember the name, so it's not like I'm hiding anything. And I'm sure there's a lot of good information in this book, but the way it was written, it was so full of never do this and never do that and never do this and never do that. And to me, it's just like, no, don't say that, because for every rule, there are amazing artists that broke that rule and created something amazing. So it's just that state of mind. I'd rather read a book where the instructor says, this is how I do this, but I encourage you to try whatever you want, or, explain why you're doing something and why you're doing it, so that I can make a decision. If I want a different effect, then I can try something different. But to open an art book that just tells you don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, and it's just, to me, it kind of kills the joy of experimenting and trying different things, especially if you are exploring painting in what to me is a more abstract, loose, intuitive, conceptual, not super traditional way. So yeah. Okay, I have become obsessed with adding all that shimmers and glitters, and I definitely think it adds another dimension. And I try now with every page that I make with all these glittery watercolors to give you a close-up and also show you how the color catches the light, so you can get that effect. I think it does add a lot, and I'm kind of falling in love with adding these mostly as splatters. So the color I'm using right now, it is, let me check. Copper Candle by Rachel Beth Designs. I haven't bought from her in a few years because she uses honey, but I did have this one. I have a few of her paints. They're lovely. And this color is just like liquid metal. It's beautiful. And I couldn't stop there, so I just added more. Oh, and I also want to say the colors I used here. I used the Cobalt Violet, which I said already. And then I also used Lunar Earth. I really wanted something warm, but I didn't want yellow. I wanted something more earthy, and I wanted a ton of granulation, which is my obsession. And the lunar colors are fantastic for that. And Lunar Earth is this really, I don't know, I guess I would call it an orangey yellow ochre type of color with a ton of granulation. So it's kind of an earthy granulating orangey color. Orange brown, something like that. I think I have a whole video dedicated to it and to the mixes you can get with it, if I remember correctly. So you can search my channel, and if I remember, I'll link you to it, but I'll probably forget. So I decided eventually I also wanted just a little bit dark colors, and I added zoazite, which is just a beautiful darker green that, surprise, surprise, granulates. And it's one of my July favorites. So here are the close-ups. I hope you can see how beautiful these colors are. And yeah, that granulation is fantastic. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye.